physical. It's time to talk some piss and more. We gonna talk about it all. DVD, CD, UHD, VHS, books, Blu-ray. Who knows, maybe you'll even see a laser disc today. Let's get physical. We wanna talk some physical media. Movies and TV, music and more. Come check out what we have in store. This is a media house stream. It's time for some physical media on FanZcene.
I know it was like really popular because it like won some Oscars and whatever, but
Jimmy does dance.
It's got the Mighty Ducks guy. Got that guy.
No! Yes, but no! He's not the Mighty Ducks guy! It's Emilio Estevez! Who's the brand? You can never have enough physical media.
No, you cannot. Well, hello, fellow followers. Welcome back to the Physical Media Show here live on FanZcene. I hear games.
Sorry.
It happens. That
was a stream playing in the background. My bad.
No problem. It happens. I wasn't even sure we were live there for a minute. It kept like spinning over here. I'm like, is it live? Is it going? I'm not glitching in my.
Yeah, StreamYards and YouTube have been having issues lately. I don't know what's been going on.
It's been weird.
We had like the show go out the other day. It was just like, okay, that's great.
Yeah. And then they had did you see where it's like your YouTube account will be deactivated from StreamYard in like 2,000 and something days? I got that message on there. I'm like, what? And then it said, we're trying to fix this problem. Don't ignore it. It's weird. But we're here.
It's like 2,000 or 200,000 some plus days. It's like 75 years.
Yeah. It was like, what? Okay. But thank you, Tom, for being here tonight with me. Tom Rook is once again, he was supposed to be here, but then he had to go back to work at Subway. So it'll probably just be me and Tom tonight. I get some stuff in. And we'll see about next week. We'll have some more people hopefully next week to join us. But let's go ahead and say hi to the chat. We got Random Brad. It says hello and welcome all. Welcome to you, buddy. And yes, Style Section welcome. It says Physical Media Show Subway free since 2003. And what's up, Brightboard? Hail to you. I love this name. Tell him Freddie sent ya. Hi, welcome. Tell him Freddie sent ya. And Dark Anubis says, Subway. Ace Hanlon says, let's go. Welcome, my friend. What's up, Cowabunga dude? Glad to have you with us too. Salute to you, Deleted Scenes. Glad to have you with us in the chat tonight, Steven. And yes, make sure everybody likes, share, and subscribe. And you get, join, you get some cool stuff like that when you become a channel member. We have Tim Hayes. What is up, Tim Hayes? Glad to have you with us. Let's see who else. So yeah, Free Rook, Subway, let Rookie go free. Yep. What's up, Corleone Rogue? Hi to you. RJ Godzilla. Hello, my good friend. And let's see, who do we have here? Yeah, no Rook tonight. Subway's been putting him through the ringer. What can I say? Then we also have Taylor Swift should have run as a third party. I really hope not. But welcome, man. Glad to have you with us. And then we have Tyrell72. Hell to you, Tyrell. And glad to see you with us. Live long and prosper. And let's see, Anthony Draven. Sorry, excuse me. Hello, Anthony Draven. Hail to you. Glad to have you with us. Dragonzilla, my good buddy. Hail to you as well. Yep, F Subway. Hey, there we gotta get a new emoji now, the F Subway emoji. That Brian Barth coming in with the win there. We'll have to get that and put it up for Rook when he gets here, if he ever comes back. Yes. See, we got that. We got it. We're all good.
Subway ain't quite what they used to be yet.
No. My mom used to actually be a manager there as well, and she ain't no longer. So. They lost what they once were. What's up, Poker A6666? And yeah, new emoji Subway. But welcome everybody out there in the chat and everybody at home watching. I hope you're ready for some physical media goodness tonight. Let's see, what do we have on store for upcoming releases? I know
there wasn't a whole lot.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I didn't see a whole lot. I know I saw a couple Kino is what I was going to say. I saw a couple Kino. But let's
Yeah,
see.
that's probably where most of the announcements came from.
Yeah,
Hear what I had.
I know they're releasing reindeer games in 4K. The Ben Affleck movie Kino
Yeah, there was
is
that one. There was Willow,
Willow in 4K.
which has
Yes.
had a 4K for a while. It just hasn't been released.
Yep.
In fact, I'm pretty sure I have it in digital in 4K.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks DNR'd to shit. Sound of Music.
Sound of Music in 4K.
According to a rumor, yeah.
Huh. I know Goldie Hawn and Chevy Chase movie Foul Play is getting a 4K.
That was another one from Kino.
Yeah.
I think that was like last but well, let's say I think we mentioned, maybe we didn't, but
Did we? I don't know.
I can't remember now.
Yeah, neither do I.
Murder by Decree is also coming from Kino, which is another one of the Agatha Christie stories, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was kind of a slower week than even normal those slow weeks have been as far as announcements.
Yeah, I didn't see too many.
It wasn't too many, that kind of jumped up and said, "Oh yeah, look."
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting various reports in and out about Terminator. So we'll see how that rolls. Mine's on its way. Austin Powers is another one that I believe is on its way here. I was hoping to have by today, because I've been hearing from quite a few places now that it is the international cut that is on the 4K Blu-ray, and it's not even released it's not a Warner Brothers release so I don't know when we'll get a 4K version of it here in the US. Because this is actually coming from the international distributor. So it's the international cut of the film, which is actually like 4 minutes longer.
Mm-hmm.
And you've probably seen the scenes if you have the DVD. They're in the deleted scenes on our version, but they're actually added back in. There's the infamous sea bass scene, and there's like one other scene that are added back in, or that are in the international cut that aren't in the US cut. So it'll be that version we get on 4K Blu-ray. So actually it's a longer cut than what we're used to. And as far as I know, though, because I have had a few people ask, no, the theatrical cut will not be on this version, the US theatrical cut, that is.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. I don't know what the US, my guess is the US version will probably be this cut, and they'll end up advertising it as a new version.
Yeah, they'll
kind of like they did with Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, like this will be the extended, like director's cut or something. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that. I was thinking about buying that one myself, since it is actually a pretty good price right now.
Yeah, it's actually pretty well priced, especially even for the decadent version or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Get cards and a poster and whatnot.
Yeah. Did we mention the Toxic Avenger series Blu-ray?
I think we did a while back. There was an announcement. Because I think I was one of the first people who was keyed into that or clued into that when I noticed they had just out of the blue posted the opening for the show in HD with no real explanation. And I said to you guys, I'm sure you remember this. I'm like, guys, this is in HD. Like, they must be doing the show in HD. So I'm like, I'm all for it. It was only like a season, I think. So
yeah, it seems like a season, and maybe no, I think it was one season.
Maybe two.
Yeah, one season. I know we've talked about that before, but I absolutely love. Matter of fact, one of my picks tonight may go along with movies that got cartoons from movies like adult movie type movies.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, I always. I mean, we had it good back in the day. We don't know what we missed out on.
Brian asked, "What's wrong with the U.S. theatrical cut?" No, nothing. It's just missing a few scenes that they put into the international cut.
Yeah. No.
It was just because they were scenes that they thought the U.S. audience wouldn't get the joke, but the UK audience, for instance, would.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I remember when they. I've never seen it, but I do remember when they released the British version of The Office, and they had to give a slip of paper for people to understand what the words meant.
Like all the British slang.
Yeah, all the British slang, so you understood what they were saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, they
so that's what getting pissed means.
Yeah. So there is a differences when Americans see something and what British people see compared to us. So.
Nah, what I'm hearing about the Terminator 4K is, I'm sure we'll get into this next week when I get mine. there is a lot of talk about it. So we'll see. On
Yeah.
that. I should have a
think,
few by next week. I'm thinking at least, but we'll see.
well, I have a feeling I'll probably be keeping on to my Terminator Blu-ray because it looks pretty darn good as is.
Depending on which version you have, yeah, you might have the
Yeah, I have the one.
2013 release is from the 4K scan
Yeah,
that this is
that's
from.
the one I have.
So and it just so happens that I think that people are thinking it looks better than the other scans that are up, have
Mhm.
AI muck about with them. I think it's mainly just because it's a newer scan. That's why, than the other ones that we've seen so far. That's the only reason why it looks better.
Yeah,
But,
you're probably
Because
right.
you're right, that 2013 Blu-ray release of Terminator is probably the best it's ever going to look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because that is from the negative. It is a 4K scan, but it is on a 2K Blu-ray from back in 2013 is the only problem. But yeah, and yeah, Boba Fett, that's awesome. Another one. Okay, so that you're like the fourth, fifth person to confirm that now.
Yep. He can confirm it, so that's
Well,
going to
and
be
the bigger deal was for people outside the U.S. because I guess the last release or two of Austin Powers has been the U.S. cut, so they actually were missing scenes over there. So yeah, go figure on that one.
That always I always think about that, because sometimes the movies, like when a movie's released over here and a movie's released overseas, there are different versions of them at times, and different like with Demolition Man, it's not
I
Taco
was gonna say,
Bell.
well, we're
Pizza
getting to
Hut.
see that now with Demolition Man. We'll actually get to see for the first time
Yeah,
the Pizza Hut version over here in the U.S. and vice versa for outside the U.S. We'll get to see the Taco Bell version
yeah,
because they are having both versions of the film on the new 4K coming from Arrow.
that's pretty cool though.
Yeah, so we will get to watch it in either or version if you want. So for the first time, we'll be able to watch it over here with the Pizza Hut scenes.
Yeah. So that always gives me what happens when we if they see a movie coming from us a theatrical cut, hey, I don't remember this. This is also, I think, where some of the Mandela effect with movies come in, besides the TV cut, is there are alternate country cuts. So maybe somebody who lived in England or somewhere and comes over here and sees the movie, like, hey, this is not how I remember it. Or you go see the foreign cut and you're like, hey, this is how I remember it. So
It happens. I mean, there's rare. I mean, it's not as rare as you'd think, but it is. I mean, not anymore so much, especially, but back in the day when these movies would be sold by a production company instead of the studio to a whole nother distributor overseas. Well, then sometimes you're right. They would get a whole completely different cut of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you see them pop up. You'll have the international cut pop up on some of these because there are.
Yeah.
My main thing I've noticed is unless there's some major extreme differences, they usually don't bother.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only other thing I've noticed is sometimes they'll put there was a couple of the imports I have where the older version on DVD or whatever is usually the sped up PAL version. So they're the same movie. It's just 5% faster, so they could speed it up for the 30 frames per second on PAL or whatever. So yeah, it's
Is that we just figured that out with
there
Don't
was
Tell
some
Mom
other
the
movie we were trying
Babysitter's
to
Dead.
figure it out.
Don't Tell
Mom the Babysitter's Dead was one of those that happened to. But there was a whole nother movie I was trying to figure out if there was a whole nother version or what the deal was, and that's what it turned out to be. It was like 4 or 5 minutes shorter on the one disc because it was the sped up PAL version.
Yeah, the sped up.
I think it was the Howling 2 or something like that. It was on one.
And this is true too, because now that's the only version of Highlander you can get. That's when they keep releasing is the international cut with all the extra
some
scenes.
people want the US cut.
Yeah,
there's some people who prefer it because it's a little tighter. It doesn't. I mean, some of the stuff that's added, I guess that some people just don't really feel like you need it.
Yeah, some people don't like the little extra bits. I believe when he saves the girl in the war. I don't remember if that's in the. It's been
it's the international cut, but that's one of the arguments I'll make for that version. But no, famously, that's one that some people are like, no, we want. I more so want the theatrical cut of part 2.
Yes, I'm with you.
I want the batshit crazy version of part 2.
That's what because I'm fine with the Highlander International because I think it helps the movie a little bit.
There's not that much added to it.
Yeah. But the Highlander 2.
I want it just because it's batshit crazy. I want the fucked up version. They've been fixing it ever since. It's like y'all are just making it worse.
They're aliens. No. Renegade cut. They're actually from the future.
You know what it is? It's like when somebody has an accident and they get reconstructive surgery. but they're like upset about it, so they keep going back for reconstructive surgery. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. It's like, okay, you're kind of covering up some of the old problems, but you're creating new ones.
You're making it worse, man. Just
Yeah, because if you do look between the DVD version and the Blu-ray version of the Renegade cuts, there's a bunch of differences between those two versions. So I couldn't even get it right the first time. And yet we still haven't had the original version released in any of those. And the same thing with the theatrical version, the US theatrical version of Highlander. I think you got to go all the way back to, honestly, I don't know if it's ever been released on disc in the theatrical version. Maybe like Anchor Bay, I think, had one cut, and I might actually have that one. Not 100% sure, but that's it if there is one. Otherwise, it's never been released in the US theatrical cut on disc, only on VHS.
I don't know why America never used PAL instead of NTCS. I mean,
it had to do mainly with my understanding, and if somebody in the chat understands it better than me, please correct me, but it had more to do with the voltage of how we adapted to voltage. In the US, we use just slightly lower voltage, so the 20, like our television still run, I think, at 30 frames, but it's a different, just different how it works out. I can't remember now. I'm fucking half awake from that,
happens.
It's just they speed it up just a little bit because the PAL television for some reason is just that many more frames. That's another reason why like their shows and stuff from their old video shows and stuff like Doctor Who and all those look even more weirder than our soap operas, like all ghosty and shit. Yeah, because of the way they're filmed, and it's that PAL. It's that 30 frames per second speed thing. Yeah,
it's just like that. But yeah, and so yeah, I don't think you can get the second one on it. Is there a DVD cut of this original second?
Not of the theatrical, no.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think so.
I mean, I guess there is an addendum to that, a little asterisk. I guess I have never been able to run into it, but there was like some, I don't know if it was Danish or something like that version of it that was released at some point on DVD, so it's out there, but I have not been able to come across it. I have a 35 millimeter scan that is in the roughest of rough shape of it, and the sound goes off sync in certain ways, in certain players. Now, if I watch it on my computer, it's fine, but like if I try to watch it on my TV off my DVD player, it'll go out of sync and stuff like that, in my Xbox and whatnot. But either way, it's like there's really rough cuts of it out there for people to get their hands on. Other than that, though, it hasn't had a real decent release to this day. They need to do like an ultimate Highlander box set, especially now that I believe all the rights were under the same roof. I don't know if Lionsgate retained all of them or not, because when they had Miramax, they had them all at one point, but then they sold their Miramax catalog off to Paramount. So I don't know if they went and were stupid and sold off the rights to the last 2 or 3 Highlander films to Paramount when they had all of them in one place at once, because there was a box set. Well, I guess you could call it that, but it was really just like a 2 or 3 disc set where they just slammed all 6 of the films or whatever it is onto this set. So you could get it at one time where you could get all the films together, but they were like, you know, the director's cuts and the Renegade versions and all that shit. So like it's the same versions that are all available, but no, we need a good box, because even to this day, the last 2 theatrical Highlander films have never even been released on Blu-ray.
Nope, that's not in the US, at least.
No.
Yeah.
And I have the imports, and they're not the greatest looking, but yeah. Anyway, we went down an avenue because there was nothing to really talk about this week as far as new releases. It's been real quiet. Even Shit Factory hasn't really been putting out a whole lot of new stuff.
Yeah, that's true. And that's the sad thing, is like to close it out on the Highlander thing, is that's one of the 3 possibilities if Lionsgate sold their Miramax rights of those 3 movies to Paramount. Is either Paramount will put them out, or Kino, or Shout Factory, because Shout Factory and Kino have gotten some of the Dimension Miramax films. As a case in point, like we mentioned earlier, Reindeer Games.
Yeah. Which people are pissed about that, because the director's cut's only on Blu-ray, not 4K.
Yeah. And which it should totally be the director's cut on the 4K. So, and they're not even releasing it in December. It's coming out January 14th. Go
figure on that one.
Yeah. I mean, if it
And
has,
again, it's not something you can really blame Kino for because they just probably weren't given any other access
yeah, I was
to
gonna
that
say,
version except for which is I think the first time at least the director's cut will be available in HD if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
no, the director's cut. I have the Blu-ray. The director's
It
cut.
has it on
Blu-ray.
the Blu-ray. Okay.
Yep.
So
Yep.
then it's that same version. That's why.
Yep. It's the same. It's whatever
Yeah.
Paramount gave them, I would assume.
Yep.
So
they may not even have those scenes in a better version anymore. We have no idea. That's another problem.
yep, that could be. That is true. That is very true. But
Not
what
that
I
you couldn't turn around and up convert that footage and just mix it with the 4K scan of the theatrical, but yeah.
But from what I've heard, that movie's been butchered like so much. Like even the director's cut is not even the cut of that the director wanted. It's like there's so much that was cut from it. But anyways, like you said, we went down a rabbit hole and everything. So let's go ahead and get into the physical media show. So let's go ahead with you, Tom. Let's see what you got first.
Okay. Well, first off, this is going to be a quick one because I haven't actually watched the disc. I'm going to pull a runner, and this is a bit of a cheat. But I got this week because it was on sale. It might still be on sale, so I encourage people who don't have Paramount Plus but like to pick up physical media to get this because this show has been just amazing, and the second season is about to end, and I'm assuming it will also get a physical release because that's one thing Paramount has been pretty good about. And if you haven't seen the show yet, you must see it. To me, it is the closest we'll probably ever get to Grand Theft Auto, the TV show. If not, I would love a Grand Theft Auto set in this kind of world. And the show is called Tulsa King.
Oh, nice.
If you haven't seen it, it's got Sylvester Stallone. And the first season is stupendous. The second season has been really good. We got one more episode left so far. And the show is about Sylvester Stallone plays Manfredi, a mobster who, and you even get the Steelbook. It was when it was on sale too. I don't even know if there is a standard version of it. I think it's only Steelbook. No, it was just me, Sadie.
What was
anyway, yeah, what was it? So basically, it's about this gangster from New York who spent his time in prison, kept his mouth shut, didn't snitch anybody out.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time he gets out, they don't know if they can really trust him anymore, so they ship him off to Tulsa, Oklahoma, middle of bumfuck nowhere. Yeah. And he just kind of comes in and takes over the entire area. Like, it's kind of hilarious how he does it. Because like one of the first things he does is take over this weed shop, and he's like, well, what do I need you for? He's like, well, I'm here to give you protection. He's like, well, I didn't need any protection until you were around. Nice. It's kind of one of those things. So it's like a comedy meets, whatever, but it's got one of those shows that every episode that ends, I'm like, no, I hate that, because you're like, I want it to keep going. I want it to keep going. More. Oh, and it is just a devourable show. And if some people have been knocking the second season, I haven't had any problems with it. Unless I'm missing something that everybody else is having issues with that I'm not. Because this is one of the most anti-woke shows on television right now. Mm-hmm. This is where, I don't know if you guys saw the thing from like a year and a half ago where that video came of Sly where he's like, what's it with the fucking pronouns? The he, hims, the they, thems, the her, the zing, the don, the F, you have had it up to here. That's what that's where it comes from, is this show. Yeah. So he's this guy who's been in prison all this time, and he's had to, be reintroduced into the world. And it's interesting because you got to think about it. Is the last time this guy was out, cell phones weren't a thing yet. The internet wasn't a thing yet. And he's in his 70s, so he's like trying to grasp with everything, at the same time while trying to gain control of this area. And of course he gets resistance from other places, and it's just a great stable of characters, and if you haven't checked it out yet, it's well worth it. I think it was like going for $15. I don't know what it is now on Amazon, but it's the whole first season on disc, plus 90 minutes of special features. So, yeah,
I don't have Paramount Plus, so this is one I've actually been wanting to see. It sounds like a great little like fish out of water type story.
Kind of at first it is, and then it kind of turns into like a comedy action version of the Godfather in a weird way. Oh, just kind of the way the story plays out. But no, it's a really great show. It's from Taylor Sheridan. So if you like Yellowstone, that's the guy who made it. So
yeah, I've also wanted to see his other show. I was wondering if that was any good. I don't know if you've seen it with Jeremy Renner.
I've seen some of it. It's not one of my favorites. It's good. I have to get back into it. Mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah,
that one's about a guy who runs the prison this big prison,
Mm,
basically,
okay.
and the politics that go on with that. It's interesting. It's just not as fun as Tulsa King is, and it's not as like nail biting as
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone is or 1923 is, but
Mhm.
it still kind of has that same kind of feeling to it. You know, it kind of shows the dark, gritty side of the things that you have to deal with and put up with, and the rules you have to bend and break to be a prison, you know,
Mhm.
warden, basically. So, but no, Tulsa King's fun. I think you'll enjoy it. It's got a great cast, like I said.
Oh
And
yeah. I mean,
Sly is just knocking it out of the park constantly.
yeah,
So,
I'm a big fan of Stallone. So, and it is one that I have been wanting to see for quite some time. Because I've heard nothing. I've heard nothing but good things. And this is like what you just said. It's the first I've heard of anybody saying they've had any problems with the second season. Because all I've ever heard was praise.
yeah, every
for
time I bring it up,
everything.
somebody says, "Oh, I didn't like it as much as the first." I'm like, okay, it's not even over yet, but all right. In fact, I felt like there's been more shit going on in the second season. Because the problem with the first season is this:
Mhm,
the first season they weren't 100% sure if they were it was gonna be more than like a mini series
mhm.
kind of like thing. So the way the first series kind of comes to a conclusion, by the time you get to the end of episode, it kind of I kind of have to do this visually. Kind of goes like this with the story, and then there's like a little bit of this at the end of the show, just to go, okay, we've wrapped up all this other stuff, but there's enough of this other stuff that we have to deal with yet for the next season. So then the second season, it kind of goes like this, and it just keeps kind of going, and then it curves back off again, kind of like the first season, but it feels much more concentrated, even though you got a lot more shit going on. It also feels like at the same time. It's really
Right.
kind of hard to explain, and that's where I'm like, unless I'm missing something somewhere where there's been some plot holes or something that just I didn't pick up on that other people did. I
Mhm.
think it's been a pretty tight and excellent show for the second season too. So, because the second season is more about the struggle of power, right? Like
Right.
the first season was him gaining the power. The second season's been him trying to hang on to the power. So it's kind of like The Godfather in that respect too. So like,
Right. So well, it sounds good to me. It all sounds good to me. I'm a fan, and if it's still cheap, $15, that may be something I
I don't know
have
what
to
it is
pick
yet,
up.
but let me see. Yeah, let me take a look because I got this a few days ago. So
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to have to look into that because it is something I've been wanting to see for a while.
for some reason, I think I only paid like 15.
I mean, that's a really good deal if you did. Seriously. I think I did see
Oh no,
you.
I didn't. I paid 25 for it. I
Oh, it's
swear I
still
got
not
it cheaper
bad.
than that. The hell happened? Maybe it was on sale and then it went back up. Well, that's the price it is now. But I swear I paid less than that for it.
Well, $25 still not bad for like a whole season.
No. It's like 9 episodes, I think, or 8 episodes.
Yeah.
But the second season I think is 10.
Huh.
But like I said, you also get special features.
Yeah.
Just sucks it's not 4K, but
Yeah.
because the show
Well,
is 4K on the Paramount.
you never know with Paramount. They do like to do the like a little later on. They'll give you the 4K.
Double dip.
Yeah,
Well, I did the same
double
thing
dip.
with The Offer, and I kind of I ordered that one at first just to support the show
Mhm.
because I liked it. Not that it was going to have a second season anyway, but I would really hope that somebody gets the idea of we can keep doing this kind of a show, kind of like American Horror Story, where
Mhm.
every season's a different story that's kind of tangentially connected, but they're not. Like
Right.
I'd love to see a same kind of show, but about the making of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And they've also
Yeah.
hinted at like another place they could have went was Apocalypse Now, because if anybody knows anything about the making of that was a bigger nightmare than
Yeah.
any other. Or Jaws would be another one I think that would work as a good one on that. Movies that had famously really tough productions that
Yeah.
would make for interesting drama on television. But anyway, moving on. What you got for us?
That's good. Okay, well, mine will be my first one here. I'll make it a little quick one as well, because I know you're not a big fan of this guy, but I wanted to watch Under Siege with Steven Seagal. Just the first one. I didn't watch the second one. I'm not actually a big fan.
No offense. I just have never got into his movies. My dad always thought he was a. I'm not even gonna say the word because I don't think he'd say it anymore. But yeah,
I get you.
like running around in that ponytail, that.
No, I really, I honestly, I think Under Siege is his best movie, and that's because it's the cast surrounding him. It's got the greatest cast.
I've heard, and that's one I've thought about watching simply because of Busey and Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, I think you would dig it if I think you might dig it. But yeah, Busey, Tommy Lee Jones, Cole Meany. It's got a great bunch of great character actors in the movie. Yeah, and Tommy Lee Jones is like trying to one up Gary Busey and who can be crazier in the movie. So that you got that right off the bat. And you know, you got Steven Seagal. I know Steven Seagal is not everybody's cup of tea. Like I said, I know that, but it's a fun little movie. It's like it's basically Die Hard on a battleship. And yeah, it would have worked. The movie, I think, would have worked just as much with a Harrison Ford or Bruce Willis in the role, because it's basically who he's supposed to be, but other than, you know, he's Steven Seagal, so he's good at martial arts. But yeah, the second one, I didn't. Katherine Heigl's in it. It's not as good. You miss something with Gary because you lose Tommy Lee Jones and Gary Busey. It's just not the same. And, you know, so I can't. It's not that it's a bad movie. It's just I'm not big fan of the second movie. But no, I love it. It's basically Steven Seagal is a cook, but he's really not a cook. He's actually a very highly decorated Navy SEAL, but he's serving out the remainder of his time as a cook on the ship that's going to be retired. And the ship is taken over by Tommy Lee Jones, Gary Busey, and their crew. And what they're going to do is like sell off of the nuclear missiles to countries and stuff like that. Tommy Lee Jones actually used to be part of the CIA, so he knows all about it. But they unexpectedly did not expect Steven Seagal, who is this badass Navy SEAL who basically takes them out, you know, going through the ship like you know, Bruce Willis in Die Hard. And Erica Eleniak is in it, and she's great. She shows her tits. So it's a fun movie. Like I said, I know you're not a big fan of him and everything, but I was really, it's like one of those last great 90s, 80s action movies, you know? So it's just a really fun, just a fun flick. And I hadn't seen it in so long. And I just, yeah, he's just a cook. He's got that. He's just a cook. But yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh, really? So I think Harrison Ford was the first choice of Richard Gere. I don't remember. I couldn't see Richard Gere in that role, but I could see Harrison Ford in that role. It's basically like Air Force One, you know. So if you're into that type of thing,
get off my boat.
You know, that line could have played in the movie perfectly.
This is bullshit.
And if I'm honest, if I'm really truly honest, it's probably Steven Seagal's best acting role, and he's probably barely in the movie. I think Tommy Lee Jones and the rest of them probably have more scenes than he does in the movie. So I think they knew his strengths and what they could do, what he couldn't do in it. So yeah. But no, there you go. That's basically the movie. That's the movie. So I just had a hankering to watch it. Because usually after Halloween, which, you know, you guys know I watch horror movies all year long, but usually after Halloween I get in a mood I want to watch like comedies and I want to watch like action movies for some reason. It's just like a sort of a bit of a palate cleanser. Yeah, like a palate cleanser. And that's one I had not seen in a long time. It's a great 90s flick, and it's like right on the verge of, like, you could tell it was like right on the verge of when the world was about to change a little bit to where Bill Clinton was going to take over because George Bush is still president. But it was like you can see the changing of the world. Like, it was like, not only is it a dumb, fun action movie, but it's also a smarter action. You know what I mean? It's a little smarter than it's given credit for. But it's a fun movie. It's fun movie. And like you said, I know Steven Seagal isn't everybody's cup of tea. I get it. I was much more of like a Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Van Damme fan and Bruce Willis fan myself. But there is a few Seagal movies that I do like here and there that I you know, that don't bother me. But there you guys have. There's my first one. Oh, and just so you know, if anybody ever got this, they're on separate discs, so it's not like they're sharing a disc, which is one good thing I liked about having this set, is that they're not on the same disc like they like to do with these sets. So yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, he gave good speech on Deadly Ground. Yes, Rip Tony Todd, may he rest in peace, Candyman. I was going to watch Candyman, and I thought about watching, but I actually watched like the Holliston episode with Tony Todd in it. So Yeah. But anyways, let's go back to you, Tom, if you're ready for your
Sure,
next one.
sure. Well, I brought up Yellowstone when I was talking about Tulsa King, and I happened to get a slightly controversial release because I guess Kino may or may not have gotten permission to use some of the special features on this disc, but I have a feeling that it wasn't. It's kind of more of the people that their stuff is being used. They probably let it be used on another release, and since it was used on another release, and this is something that I've learned from our experience with the Hellraiser, now that I can actually say it,
Yes.
the Hellraiser disc, is that if something is on one version, it has to be made available for every version, and I guess that's what got in the way of Ton of Cliff's director's cut of Judgment being included on the discs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of a similar thing here, just in the reversal, that since it was already on one of the other foreign releases, the studio technically owns it and not the individuals now, even if they don't realize they signed away that right. It could very well be. Now, I'm not for it or anything like that. I'm not giving Kino any kind of excuses. I'm just claiming that they may have not had any clue whatsoever that this stuff was something that they should have to have any kind of permission for, since it probably came in a bundle with all the other stuff from MGM, Amazon, for this release that I'm about to discuss. But the movie itself is I don't know if it was controversial at the time it came out, but I got to imagine it was somewhat. And it's called No Way Out with Kevin Costner and Gene Hackman and Sean Young. I don't know if you've ever seen it before.
Refresh my memory a little bit because I know the movie, but I'm not.
Okay. Well, first of all, it looks really good. Sounds pretty good. In fact, I actually preferred the original stereo surround track as becoming a norm with these, because MGM tended to just really screw up a lot of their 5.1 mixes back in the day, and Amazon doesn't seem to do new ones. They just give you the option of the old one or the original release soundtrack. But anyway, so the movie is what it's about is Kevin Costner is a naval, I believe, officer, if I'm not mistaken. And he gets assigned to the Pentagon, and the senator, played by Gene Hackman, and him end up starting to date the same woman.
Okay,
and through some convoluted events, she gets murdered, and to try and take away any sort of suspicion from the senator, who had been her, who she had been a mistress to, they try to pin the murder on a possible spy. And again, I don't want to get too deep into the story because this is one of those movies that has so many twists and turns. It is done so well. And even when you hit the end of the film, you're like, motherfucker, no way.
Nice. That's been a long time, so I don't remember all the twists, but
you're like, oh, fuck, wait a minute. And it gets you. You're like, son of a bitch.
Nice.
And of course, Gene Hackman's great in it. Yes. Kevin Costner's great. It also has probably an early performance by Will Patton, I would imagine, because he looks really young in this. And he plays a Weasley little assistant to the senator, and or whatever he is. I don't know what his stasis is in the movie, but yeah, it's a really cool film, and it really it's a film that kind of the way it plays out is it really finds a way to isolate itself more and more the deeper you get into the movie. So like you as an audience member feel like the movie's caving in on you, just like the character. And then when there's that final twist that's revealed, you're like, whoa, no, what?
What the?
And it works. It's one of those kind of Sixth Sense-y kind of twist endings that, and it doesn't really make a big deal out of it too in the way that it presents. It's just a really interesting twist. And it's like, you never thought of that angle, even though it was right in front of your face the whole fucking time. And it did kind of dawn on me a little bit, but I'm just like, it was more in a way of, okay, they're going to think this, but then it was like, oh shit, and I don't want to give anything away because like all you need to know is the setup. And once you know the setup, then from there on out, the movie plays out, because the interesting part is he gets put on this case, right? So, and the thing is he could be somebody who's implicated in it and all this other stuff. So it's like, that's the whole like cat and mouse intrigue of the thing. So he's trying to both juggle finding out who, a way to actually pin it on the senator who did it and clear his own name from the case at the same time before he gets implicated in it. And that's the center of the setup, right? And that's just where part of it goes. So like, and from there it goes even more intriguing into it. Like, again, I don't want to get too deep into it because if you get a chance to see this film, check it out. I wonder if it's not going to get pulled for a short time because of the whole problem with the special features. So I'd keep that in mind and get your hands on it before
I was
it's
gonna
too
say, I'm
late.
gonna have to buy that before it gets taken down or something.
And it was on sale for $20 last week. That's why I bought it, because
nice.
this is one of the Kino ones I was waiting to go on sale. Because for those who don't know, I don't get everything the week it comes out anymore like I used to. I kind of just wait until it goes on sale for a lot of these, unless it's a steelbook that I know I can't get later on.
I've had to cut back especially with it coming into the holidays.
Exactly.
But no, once you started talking about the
no, I'm glad that Trump won because I can go fuck my family this year. They're all against me all the time. It's like, y'all want Christmas? Fuck you. I'm kidding.
I'm kidding. Off.
I'm kidding. And the joke is it's usually the other people doing that. But anyway, no.
Yeah. No, but when you started explaining about the Gene Hackman, Kevin Costner, the same woman, I remember. Yeah, I started, but it's been a long time, and I don't remember the twist, so it'll be fresh to me. If and when
I don't want to ruin it for you, then I really don't, because if somebody didn't ruin it already in the chat, don't ruin it for anybody else, because it is one of those really interesting twists that the way it works out and pans out and plays out, you're just like, holy shit. Especially at the time when this movie would have come out, it really would have been kind of a. Okay, so I guess they didn't. It's either one of the commentaries or one of the interviews. I think it's this Film Story Simon Brew interviews director Roger Donaldson. I think that's the one that it is. It's like the only special feature besides commentaries on there. And I guess they didn't get permission or anything like that from Film Stories Simon Brew or something like that. It was, if I'm getting this wrong, please correct me in the chat, somebody. But they ended up blasting Kino on Twitter, and it did get a little bit of attention. But I had stated, I'm like, well, what was the situation with the initial release? Because if you weren't paying attention to what you signed, then you probably signed away the rights to any international releases beyond that, too, because of that reason that I specified before. Right? Because we were kind of included into that our stuff could be used in any future release from now on. Right. Basically, depending on the situation, because of how the licensing was done. And that's why we aren't getting certain things on that release, or didn't get certain things on that release. So, but yeah.
Makes sense. Sounds like a good one. It's another one I'm going to have to add to the list on Tulsa King to watch and to get out there. So, yeah. Was this 4K too? Was it 4K too, or was it just Blu-ray?
Yeah, as I said, it looks really good. Really good scan. They didn't manipulate it at all, from what I could tell. Didn't look like there was any unnaturalness to it. Really nice film grain. Colors are decent. It's not exactly a movie I would say screams out for a 4K release either necessarily. It's not like a huge action, not like Under Siege, where there's a big bunch of action sequences in it or anything like that. The action is more involved in the chases and just kind of the franticness of how the film's put together and the pacing of it than anything. It's more of a political thriller than it is an action sorts, but it does kind of have a bit of an action element to it, but not just over the top action.
But I mean, I was just thinking about that, and not that the same type of movie with Under Siege, but that No Way Out. And I was just thinking about, we really don't get movies like that nowadays. And I was thinking, that's once again, this is what I'm coming into, is after watching a bunch of horror movies.
I didn't even think about that, though. But sorry.
No, I'm trying not to read in case I get spoiled. So I don't
No. Well, it says Gene Hackman always accidentally gets a woman killed when he plays politicians. No Way Out and Absolute Power. Only this one, it's not so much of an accident. I mean, he claims it was, but he's beating the hell out of her when it happens. It's like, what the fuck did you expect? It's like, dumbass.
What's going on? I think the timing is right for action movies like that again, and comedies again. Somebody needs to do for action and comedy what they did with Terrifier. You know what I mean? We need that.
We've kind of gotten a few, like Beekeeper. Have you seen that one yet? That
yes,
one was really good.
I was just bringing that up not too long ago, because there's somebody was saying that you need $100 million to make it. I was like, no, you don't. Beekeeper was made for $40 million, and it made well over its budget. So people, it can be done.
And it didn't even have to do that, because it was basically made for Amazon, or Amazon made it. So they were just basically making it for Amazon Prime.
Yeah, so I mean, it can be done. I think we need a little bit of the action movie, political thriller, comedy, sex comedy, type of and I don't mean just sex. I mean like comedy in general and action movies in general and stuff like that. Resurgence.
That
I,
may come back. It's that as long as things start to prosper again, I think
yeah,
we'll
I
get it.
think I think we need a little bit of that resurgence. But I'm gonna have to pick up No Way Out. I'm gonna have to definitely pick that out.
What do you got for us?
All right. Once again, I'm okay. A little bit of an
Or how many do you have
action.
left?
I have two.
Okay, just making sure.
So we should still be able to do this because if you got four,
Yeah,
you'll
I
be
got
relaxed.
two left.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think I got two left. Yeah.
Okay. So I did a little action comedy here, and I got Money Talks with Charlie Sheen and Chris Tucker.
I got that, but I haven't watched it yet. I mean, I've seen it before, but
Yeah. It doesn't look bad. It's not the greatest of the Warner Guy Clive, but
I
it
thought
doesn't
I
look
heard
bad.
it came from a 4K scan, but I just chucked it in just to take a look at it, and I'm like, it doesn't look all that great.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
yeah, I don't know if it came from 4K scan, but I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look like great. But no, it's a fun movie. It's it's a funny movie. This is like definitely a Chris Tucker vehicle, more so than Charlie Sheen. I forgot how much it is basically just Chris Tucker. Charlie Sheen is actually not really in the movie a whole lot, to be honest with you. But it's a fun movie. He's basically playing what's his name from Friday in the movie. That's basically
Smokey.
so he's basically Smokey if Smokey was clean and sober and was running a car wash who was just like selling goods and tickets. Because that's who he is, you know. He's in it's that sort of once again another culture shock type of movie where Charlie Sheen is marrying Heather Locklear into this rich Italian family, and he's on the news, and so he gets him busted, gets Chris Tucker arrested. Chris Tucker ends up getting out of jail because the guy he's handcuffed to is a big like French mob guy who's trying to smuggle diamonds, and so he gets free, and then he gets wanted for murder, and he hooks back up with Charlie Sheen, and Charlie Sheen's going to clear his name through the news, and you know he goes to the rich world, and then Charlie Sheen goes to the poor side of town, and they fight these French terrorists and get some diamonds in the end. It's pretty funny. Chris Tucker's, you know, it depends on how you feel about him because I know he can grate on some people, and this is a Chris Tucker movie through and through. But I like that. It was pretty fun. It's a lot more action oriented than I remembered. I probably haven't seen this since the late '90s, to be perfectly honest with you. So it's a little more actiony and stuff than I remembered it, which I dug that. I dug it. You know, I laughed. I had fun. You know, I think this was probably one of the last times Charlie Sheen did he do anything big after that, or did this just lead straight into his TV work? Because I don't think he did many movies after that. I mean, this sort of brought him back a little bit, and I know he went on to Spin City. Then
well,
he did.
actually, this was kind of more on the downturn because like he had just come off of a few of like the Hot Shots and some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
And that action movie he did. This was kind of him. I mean, he's playing straight man to Chris Tucker here.
Yeah.
I think this was also post some of his controversies with his ex-wife. And I think this is also after one of his last big blowouts with drugs and shit.
Yeah.
So this was, in that sense, I think it was kind of a comeback for him. But yeah, I think it was kind of setting him up for the next step, kind of leading into 2.5 Men and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chris Tucker, this was them trying to do something for him besides Rush Hour.
Yeah.
It's
everybody
because I was gonna say this movie did okay, but I don't think it did that great because that was the thing is they realized that Chris Tucker only really works in Rush Hour.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed, he
Yeah.
didn't really get too many other roles post that. Like,
Yeah, and
it was
this is
like,
yeah, and this is a Brett Ratner film, so who did Rush Hour? Yeah, like I said, it depends on how you feel about Chris Tucker because he's in it a lot. He carries the movie. So if you're not a Chris Tucker fan, you may not. He definitely needs somebody to bounce off of, like you said, Rush Hour. Which is funny you bring up the Charlie Sheen stuff because they do make a joke about that in the movie. I mean, like when you hear it at the time, it sounds
well, that's what I was
like
gonna say because I think this was right around the same time him and his ex had broken up and she had made all those accusations and shit about him and stuff, and he had, you know, like just gotten out of rehab and shit again.
Yeah, because there's a joke in the movie where like when they go to Heather Locklear's house, her dad's house, because he's Paul Sorvino and they're rich and everything, and he like pretending to be Vic Damone Jr. And he tells Heather like, oh my, he's like, I'm good friends with him. Oh, you're the best girl he's ever found since college. I mean, and he starts talking about all these sexual relationships Charlie Sheen supposedly had, and Charlie Sheen's like, men, women, I fucked them all. And it's like, now you think about that, that's. I wonder if that was a little joke about him in the movie and stuff. But yeah, it's a fun movie. I'd say if you can get it for cheap, it's a Warner Archive. If they ever go on sale, I'd get it. I can't say it's 4K quality, but it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look so bad. I think this may be the only time it comes out on like you said, it wasn't like huge. It wasn't like the big blockbuster hit, but it's a fun watch. I had fun with it. I laughed. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I hadn't seen it in a while. It was just a good time at the movies. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, he started drinking tiger blood after this movie.
Was this before Rush Hour or just after? I was trying to remember.
I think this is after the first Rush Hour because, like I said, it's still Brett Ratner, and I think it was like.
Actually, I think this was the year before.
Oh, really?
And that's where I think they met. Yeah.
Let's see. This was 97.
Yeah, that was 97, and Rush Hour's 98. I was gonna say, I think this one got him Rush Hour, basically. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I see. Yeah, you're right.
Post Friday, but pre Rush Hour.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was basically him bouncing off of Rush Hour or Friday into this, and this is kind of what got Rush Hour made, basically, I believe.
Yeah.
So he may have even come up with the idea on the set here.
And probably. But like I said, he's basically playing. He's basically Smokey.
And don't forget about Fifth Element as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Because even some of the same he reuses some of the same jokes in this as he used in Friday, and that he used in speaking of which, House Party 3. He uses the same joke. Same time, man. I don't know you. Same joke that he does. Yeah. So he uses.
Yeah, he had a few of his typical jokes.
Yeah, and so he's like basically the same character. Why did Chris Tucker appear in so few films? Didn't he have like a thing? Didn't he like? I don't know. I think he had like a. I want to almost say like a religious type thing happened to him where he like.
I think it's more so that just Hollywood realized that nobody wants to see him in anything but Rush Hour.
Yeah.
So he kind of sits around and waits for